be on the same page.
Yeah.
Well, that's another one. Read between the lines.
Analyze.
On the right track. And you're not an engineer. Anybody?
You're doing good if you're on the right track.
You're headed in the right direction.
What do you do when you dissect the article?
Take it apart.
Analyze it, right? Take it apart. Look at the individual pieces. Another feature of academic language is words with dual meanings. Now, we have many words in English that have more than one meaning. If you look up the word run in a large dictionary, you will come up with at least 70 different ways that the word run is used. Run on the bank and those idioms we have. Usually one is very, if you're looking at dual meanings, one is very common, concrete, and the other one is more abstract or academic. I'm going to give you some examples here. A blossom in botany means
Flower.
what we would call a flower. What if we're talking about personality?
It blooms.
Anybody know the children's story Chrysanthemum? And in there is the expression, she bloomed when the teacher praised her. How about voice? English people here, what's voice mean in literature?
First, second, third person
The point of
voice.
view.
Passive voice.
How about in audiology?
Yeah.
Speech.
Right.
Voice. Reflect. We want students to reflect on what they've read, but we also have mirrors that reflect light in another discipline, right? Stop and think about your area. Word that has two different meanings.
For social sciences, voice can also mean giving one agency,
Okay.
some type of haven.
Something else? It's too early in the morning, huh?
In counseling, it can be someone who is not, who's been very afraid to speak up. So they develop a voice,
Okay.
even for themselves.
Yes.
And in my discipline, voice is very literally your voice, whether you have pitch problems or loudness problems. So then that's a really literal interpretation of that word.
So that's the very concrete meaning. She works in communication disorders, by the way.
But it seems to me that the concrete definitions help you understand the abstract.
You're right. Any others?
Yeah, what do you do with effect and effect? AFFECT and EFFECT.
That's a whole other ballgame.
That's what I thought.
Okay. I mentioned earlier about the grammar part of academic language. It's often very explicit. Sometimes it provides more explanation for those who don't have as much background knowledge. Other times it's very concise and doesn't provide that extra. Especially in science, we have logic and reason being emphasized more than thoughts or feelings. Another area that we don't think about is called modals. We don't learn what modals are if we're native English speakers. That's not in our grammar book at all. It's in the grammar books for people learning English because it involves this class of verbs that has special powers, I guess, like would and could. And a student one time asked me, is could the past tense of can? And it really got me thinking. And this was before I knew they were called modals. Like helping verbs. Remember those from your grammar book? This is another class of words, a different way that they're used. We pick it up automatically from conversation, but second language learners have to figure out what these words mean. And all of them have some essence of obligation or probability. Conditional statements are another thing that throw second language learners, and you'll find this in cause and effect situations, regardless of what subject you're teaching. If something, this would happen. If it rains, then we will cancel the picnic. And if you give second language learners the first part of the sentence, it has to, and they fill in the rest, it has to follow logically, and they often can't make that because they don't understand the conditional statement to begin with. Sentence walls is a strategy that can help with this. This would be at probably not the college level, but at lower grade levels. Instead of having a word wall where you have single words, you have the entire, most of the sentence. To give them the beginning, hopefully they can fill in the rest then. Academic language also has what we call qualifiers. You don't want to say this always happens or it never happens. So we have words like most of the time, perhaps, often, that throw in different shades of meaning that students need to understand when they're reading. We also have longer sentences. Use of the passive voice, and there are some languages that do not even have a passive voice. So students really have to make a transition there to understand who's doing what and how the action is happening. Nominalization is making verbs into nouns. This is very efficient in English, but it also cuts out a lot of explanation. So one that goes the other way around is Google, which was noun for, search engine, that's the word I'm looking for. And we've turned it into a verb, well, I Googled her. It happens the other way too. So realizing that these things can cause students to not get the full meaning of what they're reading can make the instructor more aware of possible areas for confusion. And, my last one. Condensed messages. I mentioned explanation before. Sometimes there is not that explanation depending on who wrote the book. Some suggestions. These are not in the handout. Model with think alouds. So if you're discussing a certain section of the text, you can think out loud and have students follow you. Use gestures or expressions to help convey the meaning. Connect with examples. And as someone said, the concrete often helps to explain the abstract. If you use analogies, it helps students understand the concrete, or the abstract concept you're trying to get across. Repeat or rephrase students' comments. We do this with young children.